Alrighty, righty. Oh, Mad Mamluks are live again. Alrighty. Yeah, I see it. We're live now. See that we're live. We're alive. Um. Oh, sorry. It's okay. We're cool. Yes, we got it. I got it. Our number one fan, Sayed Saaduddin, he confirmed we have sound. I love you, man. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. What was the name of the character on Ertugrul, the bad guy? Coco, what was it? No, no, but what was his actual? There's a shake. No, 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 no. The actual, the leader. Remember, from the caravans, the guy. His name is something Eddin. Remember, Saaduddin. Oh yeah, yeah. I hope you're not like Saaduddin though. Say it's Saaduddin. You got to be good. All right, cool, great. All right. After you get married. Perfect. Oh, sound from me only? Oh, they can only hear me. Never mind, can't hear Sim. Well, I need to work on it, so I'll talk to you guys in the meantime.
How about now?
Sim was introducing. Hey, can you guys hear Sim right now?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Can you guys hear Sim? Can I get some feedback, guys?
Testing
Something
1 2 3. Hello. Sadatin. Sorry, brother Sayed.
Bingo, we got it. We're good.
Okay, good. All right.
Awesome.
What
All
was
right,
that?
cool.
I've got to figure that out. You guys won't believe how incredibly complicated this is. I think I just made it really complicated because our setup is quite unique because you guys get to see these little animations and all these crazy doohickeys that you don't see on the other channels, but I think that's why it's gotten a little bit complicated. Anyway, guys, we've had an eventful week of a lot of things going on. There's Aisha Bibi in Pakistan. Is that
Asia
Bibi?
Asia Bibi.
Asia Bibi. I'm sorry.
I don't even know who she is, but I knew her name.
All right, Asia Bibi in Pakistan. We have people all over the internet getting mad at men. I don't know how much you want to talk about that. Oh, we also had what's her name? Dina Tokio. She took off her hijab. Did you hear about this more? Do you know who Dina Tokio is? I had no idea who she was until she took off her hijab.
Yeah, I still don't care for her.
Oh man! So apparently Dina Tokio is some really well-known blogger. Is she a blogger, Naureen?
Muslim YouTuber. And
she made her fame off of the hijab world. You follow? Okay. You know about the hijab style trend thing?
Yeah. I think it was like the whole hijab and makeup tutorial type of stuff, right? And then
lifestyle blogging. And...
Okay, all right. So Muslim hack type things. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Basically every other girl is doing that now and setting up incredible numbers of followers. But
so Naureen, are you familiar with her? Do you know?
Yeah,
who she is?
I used to follow her. I used to watch her
videos. Oh my god, are you a number one fan?
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding. But is her content actually worth like listening to, or?
So they kind of push the envelope. Like her and her husband will do these kinds of like YouTube lives, and they will answer questions like not being a virgin before your first marriage or the wedding night or something. Like they would talk about taboo topics kind of thing. So I would watch some of those, and they're they swear a lot and just try to be super cool, and it just gets too much. It was a little over the top for me, so I stopped following them.
So
a while ago,
I just thought it was funny that they were like tweeting like crazy, saying like everyone is getting upset about me taking off my hijab, and I actually went on Twitter and I'm like, who's getting mad at you for taking off your hijab? And I couldn't find a single tweet, man. Maybe I'm sure there were probably a couple. There's always going to be a couple nutty people who like say, you're corrupting the world and stuff. I'm like, this girl, no one even knows her. There's maybe a handful of people who know her. I'm sure that, in some sister circles, she's probably a little bit well known, but don't think you're that influential. Like, we don't ever think that we're so influential that you were corrupting the world or influencing the world in a positive manner. We hope we do, but I mean it just seems like you're kind of full of yourself when you think that you have such a huge effect on people.
Well, she's also big in the UK, so it probably doesn't affect us much over here in the US, but we don't know what the effects are over there.
But like no one cares. I mean, with what I'm seeing, I went to Twitter and I saw like, what's she getting really upset about?
She's been deleting posts too.
Well, she can't delete other people's tweets. She can delete it if it's under her subtweet. So
hey, look, I hate to be like a total a-hole, but why is she even relevant? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like I mean, she thinks she's so relevant, and I'm like, wait, why are you so relevant?
Because like, she was like in Vogue or something. She was like in.
She was in Vogue magazine,
Cover Girl or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So and she wrote. She wrote some book.
There was a Muslim girl that was in a Playboy magazine, so who cares?
She wrote some book on modesty that's coming out right now. And so people are upset that she's writing this book on modesty. She wrote this book on and then she's promoting it, and then she takes off her hijab. So that's why she's getting a bunch of flack.
Well,
so somebody said that she's well known among Muslim teens. So she's a teen bop phenomenon.
Yeah.
She's like married with kids, isn't she?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying the teenagers follow her, right? Maybe I'm
hopefully
assuming, like, the young girls, like they look up to her. In their 20s,
yeah.
She's a Vogue contributor, and she's a lifestyle channel, and people look up to her. You know how girls.
All right, Naureen, the spot is open. She's left a void. It's for you to take.
You can do it.
I don't do hijab tutorials. I literally take the thing and just wrap it on and go to work.
No Erykah Badu styles, no honeycomb styles.
I don't have time for that.
Honeydew styles.
I just want to go to work. Styles. I just want to go to work, make some money, pay my bills, and come home.
So I got a question since we're talking about this. What do women say about women like you who cover all the way? What do you say about the women that like show the front, like they dye like that front area, and like they're purposely showing that front area? Like, do you guys have a comment on that, or do you guys just be like, they're not really hijabis, or do you be like what do you guys, what are the full covering hijabis say about those hijabis?
We're all worried about our own akhirah. We really don't give a crap what other people do.
What a politically correct answer.
I'm serious,
mashallah. Man. They're like secretly hating on each other. Like, oh man, look at that sellout. She made her millions.
My bangs would look 10 times better if I did that. They would look way
better if I did. You guys don't know. Wearing hijab is not a walk in the park. Okay, we're walking billboards. Everybody's looking at us. It's very, very difficult. We all get the waswasa to take it off. You know how many times I had waswasa to take it off? I would get that promotion at work, and I would, be successful if I took it off. But alhamdulillah, I haven't. Yeah, it's not easy. And this whole Trump era and stuff, I was like walking around work. I'm looking at all these old white dudes, and I'm like, they're probably hating me. Mm-hmm. But I had to keep it on. Like, it's not easy. So I can't judge anybody who decides to take. I've had people in my friend circles and my family who've worn hijab and taken it off, and I can't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, you come from, you have some family members that aren't exactly like, they pray and stuff, but they're not like religious in the sense that, people would say, but they don't wear hijab, right? So I'm sure your father wouldn't be pissed off if you didn't wear hijab,
but right? Wouldn't it upset you a little bit more if it's like Dina Tokio, because she's like somebody who made her, I don't know if she made millions, but let's just say her thousands or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands.
Her platform was built on.
She made all this money off of hijabis, and then all of a sudden, you kind of take it away. Like, wait, I don't need you guys anymore. I'm kind of popular, and
But what her
I got
thing wasn't
Vogue
just,
helping me out.
Her thing wasn't just about hijab though. It was like
okay,
follow my
Wait,
life. This is me and my husband, my kids, and this is me living my
what do you
Muslim
think?
life.
Do you think it was like the fact that she was able to get a following because she was like this chick Muslima that had like this ideal life with her husband, they're practicing, and she's still modern and cool, and so people gravitated to her because young girls wanted to be like fashionable and modest, and so they gravitated to her.
Yeah.
And then I think what Sim is saying now is that it's not about what she does personally; it's more about the fact that the influence she has over all those people.
Yeah.
well, I don't
Like
think she
the pitch
does.
she made. Well, I'm assuming. I mean, if people
She
say she's a
does.
big team star or whatever, and I don't know who she is.
She has an influence over her followers. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but do you think
I mean,
like
if I shave my beard tomorrow, would this followers like shave their beard? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how influential I am, but I mean, I think everyone has. At the end of the day, everybody has their own mind, right? I mean, you still know right and wrong, right? You're not a Muslim because of Dina Tokio or whatever, twice or.
a lot of
you're
the
not-
listeners know that I listen to rock and roll, and they don't listen to music. That's not their thing. They feel either they think it's haram or it's just they don't listen to it, or maybe they listen to different types of genres, and they might listen to hip hop or something, and that's something that
I think the trend is like changing in the Muslim community where, like kids who go to Islamic school, for example, people think, oh, I put my kid in Islamic school, they're going to be perfect Muslims. They're not going to have boyfriends. They're not going to do drugs. They're not going to, all this stuff. But these kids that are going to Islamic schools, that's what's happening. And these things are part of our culture. And I think people are starting to realize that everyone's human and we all make mistakes and no one's perfect and we're all trying to do our best. And if you're not able to figure that out, but at this point, then you're an idiot.
Yeah. Hey, but let me ask you a question, Sim. So this is kind of in my mind now. Let's say, like, God forbid, Naureen told me, hey, I think I want to take it off. Like, what would you do? I mean, obviously, every man would be like, no, keep it on, right? Your first response is, my wife's going to keep it on. Right? I would say that too, but at the same time, you got to be like, hey, well, she's her own person too. We live kind of in America. And
I would first try to identify the pain points, right? Is it her workplace? Maybe it's her workplace that's causing her stress, right? And then see if there's something that we can change. Maybe we can, cut back on expenses and have her leave the job, or help her find another job. There's many other things, man.
No, and sometimes they take it off because they feel like a hypocrite. Sometimes they feel like a hypocrite.
You wouldn't just pack up and move to Pakistan?
No. Heck no. No. Look, Pakistan, I love you. I've been there. I had a great time in your country. It's nothing personal. I wouldn't even know how to interact. I would get ripped off.
Makes sense.
I don't even know how to read the money. I don't even know how to read Urdu. Like,
okay.
No, it makes sense.
I have asked him, what would you do if one of our daughters decided to take off their hijab?
I would try to find out what's the pain point. Is it problems at school? Maybe it is, and usually it is. And then I would say, you know what, keep your hijab on. You're out of school. We'll figure out something, homeschooling or whatever. Maybe we could. There's like online school too now. Did you hear about that?
What if they're adults?
They're adults, and they're adults. They're out of my care, man. Once you're out of my flock, you can do whatever you want. But as long as you're under my roof, I have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that I did my best to teach you right from wrong, and gave you all the best advice I could from as many smart people. Even if you don't respect me, at least you would respect other scholars who can probably give you a lot better advice than I can. So
yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I mean, I think most people would be like, God forbid, no way. But I mean, I think you have to be practical and say, look, you have to try to understand their perspective, because I think a lot of guys don't understand that it is very hard to wear hijab all the time. It's not just like on a beard, I mean, it's a 7 thing when you're outside, right?
Yeah.
So it's a constant identity. It's a constant, and I'm sure they struggle with it all the time. So I guess that is a reasonable position to have, a little bit. But speaking of Naureen, let's transition to Asia Naureen Bibi. That's actually her middle name, Naureen.
Is it
That's her
really?
name. Yeah,
Oh,
No
Naureen is her
way.
name.
nice,
No
nice.
way.
And we were just talking about
I am
Pakistan, so
not a
that's
murtad.
oh,
Yeah. Oh, whoa, astaghfirullah, sister
we don't
Naureen.
use that kind of language
Oh.
around here. This
Astaghfirullah. You
is
can't say the M word.
Oh, really?
Astaghfirullah.
we're in a liberal American society. We
Oh.
don't use the M
Yeah,
word.
there's no such thing
Sorry.
as kafirs and murtads. Astaghfirullah, sister. Sister. Anyways, no. But the thing is, so this whole thing is kind of crazy because I'm reading about it, right? And apparently, this whole thing started because Asia Naureen Bibi, better known as Asia Bibi. We don't want to insult our Naureen here, so we're gonna just call her
Thanks.
Asia Bibi. So apparently, there was like this family, around her, like in the village. She married a Muslim guy, apparently. Okay, but there's like a family around her in the same village, right? And what happens is they've been picking at her. Like this one girl has a beef with her, right? And this girl named Musarrat, okay? And so basically, like when she's getting water from the well, this girl Musarrat goes, "Hey, you can't take water from our well. You're gonna taint it. You're a dirty najis Christian, like a kafira, right? Don't touch our water." Right? So they have like a self-imposed caste system over there, I guess.
Okay.
So they were like, so what happened is like, she was like, you're a filthy Christian, you've contaminated our water now, right? And then, she basically said, I demand that you become a Muslim now. And then apparently this Muslim woman says to her that that your prophet Jesus didn't even have a proper father. Allegedly, this is what's been said, right? So to the point where this Muslim person insults her that way. So she says in response, she says, "Well, what did your prophet ever do to save mankind? And why should it be me that converts? Why shouldn't you convert?" And so then this woman, Mustarat, goes and says she's blaspheming the prophet. She gets a mob by the house, and then the rest is history, right? They have this whole.
That's it.
That's what happened.
Wow. I mean, you're sure like there's nothing that we're missing in terms of.
Well, that's the general story. I mean, this is all alleged, so
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I mean this is what's being reported though.
Yeah, this is what's being reported.
Okay.
So
I mean, it
don't
seems like
know.
it's pretty mild, right? I don't think it warrants
Arrest.
arrest or even death sentence. Like,
Well, I'm saying, let's say she did insult the prophet. Well, here's the funny thing. Before we do that, if allegedly what happened is true, then that would mean that the Musarrad girl also needs to be arrested too because she insulted Sayyidina Isa
right,
by saying that he didn't have a proper father. I mean, what kind of Muslim would say that, right?
right.
This jahil, like, hate talk that's going back and forth, right? So if you are going to arrest people for blasphemy, then if you're going to arrest this woman, Asia Bibi, then also arrest this Musarrad girl for doing the same thing. But now, coming back to the main point, even if she did utter something that was absolutely abhorrent and completely insulting to the prophet and his family,
Yeah.
I don't see how killing this woman is going to solve anything. I mean, why is she that
Yeah.
important? She's some farmer woman, Christian woman, whatever, who lives in Pakistan, some poor woman. Who cares what she says? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
she's spitting at the sun. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? You're going to bring all this media attention onto you. You just elected a man, Imran Khan, who's trying to clean up things, possibly make the country better, possibly portray Pakistan in a better light in front of the world.
Right.
And you want to bring all this attention and heat for no reason. And
Well,
I stand
the
by
thing is, these are like uneducated people who are really rallying towards the cause of we must execute Aisha Bibi or imprison her, whatever her sentence was. Right. I think when you really look at it, more of the smart people in Pakistan, people who have a little bit of education, right? I think most people that I met over there were perfectly rational people. I think people in the rural countryside and people who aren't educated, they probably heard, all kinds of twisted versions of that story. You ever play the game Telephone? You just hear one story and then it changes into morphs into a completely new story. And she probably never said half the things that they're probably saying she said.
Yeah, right. And yes, Sa'ad ad-Din, apparently, allegedly, the Muslim woman who's insulting the Christian one insulted Sayyidina Isa in her insult to the Christian woman. So, I mean, I feel like
Wait. I thought Asia was Christian.
Yeah. So
yeah, she is. But so the Muslim woman insulted Asia, by saying that Jesus doesn't have a proper father.
Okay.
Because Asia is Christian,
Okay.
right?
Got it.
And
You
right,
makes
so
sense?
yeah.
She wasn't
Yeah.
a murtad. You said
Oh.
you got confused. We were just joking about that.
Oh, I thought you were
She
serious.
never left Islam. She was always a
Oh.
Christian.
Oh, okay. Now I see
okay.
the confusion, Naureen.
They have like
Okay.
Muslim like names.
Yeah, they have Muslim names.
Yeah, they do because culturally they're there, right? Even some of these Sikhs who live there have some Muslim names.
Mm.
Right? Because it's culturally there, you know what I mean? And and also she married a Muslim man.
What?
Yeah, she married a Muslim because I mean, there a Christian woman can marry a Muslim man in
Oh.
Pakistan, so
Interesting.
that's what it is. Yeah, let me see if I can find her husband's name.
Yeah, it's right here. Ashik Masi.
Oh, there it is. Okay, there you go. Okay, great.
Yeah. Or unless he was Christian, are you sure?
I don't know. Maybe he could be Christian too. Maybe he's a Christian with a Muslim name. But would that change anything? I mean, I don't think it should make any difference, right? I mean, the situation is so stupid, and it's blown out of proportion so much. It's kind of like the Charlie Hebdo thing, right, Sim? Like
Yeah.
if you just ignored it, it would have gotten no attention, zilch, and it would have gone away, right? Absolutely
Right.
no problem.
Whoa, can I like quote what was said?
What? Go
It's
ahead.
pretty bad though. It's bad words. Can I say bad words?
Just say the first
Okay.
letter or whatever.
So that other chick, Musarat, said to Naureen or Asia, "That's
so
right.
the Muslim said to the Christian.
Yeah, that's right. You're just a filthy Christian.
Ooh.
You've contaminated our water, and now you dare speak for the prophet. Stupid, bit, whatever. Your Jesus didn't even have a proper father. He was a
B.
bastard.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Don't you
Oh.
know that?" And then Naureen said, "I believe in my religion and in Jesus Christ who died on the cross for the sins of mankind. What did your prophet Muhammad ever do to save mankind, and why should it be me that converts instead of you?"
Okay, so
I mean, I think
she
her
was
response is probably more dignified than
Yeah,
right.
the Muslim lady.
yeah.
Right. I mean,
Right? I
like
mean,
that
that's
that
what-
Muslim
that-
lady was
that's not
completely out of line.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean, I
completely out
don't
of line.
blame her
That's
for
not.
doing that.
Yeah, I mean, these are ignorant people who are quarreling over well water. What was it? They were
Yeah.
and
Yeah, well water.
and this is like this became an international incident because foolish authorities blow things out. And imagine being a first responder to that scene and saying like, "Hey, ladies, break it up. It's not a big deal. She didn't say much. You didn't hear anything. Here's $50. Go off on your own way or whatever, or else I'll fine you both." Instead of forget about handing them money. Tell them like, "Hey, if you don't cut it out, you get a 100 rupee fine." Is that a lot? That's not a lot, right?
No,
100
that's
rupees
pretty
is
good
a
amount of money
dollar.
right now.
Wait,
I mean,
rupees are like a.
100 rupees is $1.
Oh no
US.
no. Let's say 1,000 rupees.
No, but dude,
$10.
100 rupees, you could buy like 20 bags of Cheetos.
All right, It was just. I was just trying to make an example. Let's settle on 500 rupees. How's that?
Okay.
So yeah, so the people beat her. They sent a mob
Yeah.
to go beat her.
Yeah. So this is the kind of crap.
Jahil.
I mean,
Totally
So
Jahil.
here's the other
ignorant,
thing. So
rural.
let's say
Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's say that they did have a blasphemy law. Let's say Islamically they wanted to have one. Even by then, they did a second wrong by having a mob go and be extrajudicial and go and beat this woman, right? If you are having a law in the country,
Yeah.
let it happen in the court. Why are you mob beating up this woman who's supposed to have her day in court, right? I mean, it makes no sense. It's just completely blown out of proportion.
These people, they don't love the prophet, man. These people, they just love being passionate about something. No different from a lot of our social justice warriors that you see on social media, like maniacs who just scream at the top of their lungs, screaming against men, screaming against women, screaming against white people, screaming against any kind of authority that they find. Like, hang on a second, settle down. You're not that important. First, understand that. And then second, let's move on to the point that, how can we fix society and first fix our own lives and then fix the world at large, right? I always talk about, every once in a while we talk about Jordan Peterson on our show, but he makes a great point. He talks about clean up your room, clean up your damn room. Meaning, what's he talking about? That he's saying fix your life. Your room is a mess.
Isn't there a hadith like you can't change the world till you change the people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Change within
There's an
what's
ayah about
within
that
their
too.
selves. Hold on,
Yeah.
someone quoted the Quran,
yeah,
Surah Nam. They said, "And insult not those whom they, the disbelievers, worship besides Allah, lest they insult Allah wrongfully without knowledge."
Yeah, this is
So
the ayah. وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدُوًّا بِغَيْرِ الْعِلْمِ. So it's saying basically, do not insult those who invoke other than Allah, unless, because then they will begin to insult Allah and in enmity without knowledge, that they won't know
yeah,
what they're
and
saying.
that's
So
exactly what happened.
yeah, exactly. Because this woman just, and she didn't even really insult, to be honest. I think her response was pretty dignified. If someone insulted my religion like that, probably would have said something worse, right?
yeah,
But I mean, so you, I mean, I'm just saying that I think everyone can see right now. It's pretty clear that this is not about this is not an Islamic thing. It's some
right.
cultural thing. It's some political beef that happened, and they used religion to attack one another. And it's just actually, I would say, the Muslim used it to attack the non-Muslim, and
Wait,
it
but
should.
what kind of court system imprisons her for that? I mean, I think,
It's probably the tribal courts.
I
So
mean,
what happens is that if you understand like Pakistan the dynamics, right?
yeah,
If you're from a particular town and you have a party leader, they don't want the town to riot, so they're gonna the party leader will probably go and petition the judge or whatever, and they'll say, oh, if you don't put them in jail, we're gonna have this mess on our hands, and we won't be able to control the riot, so imprison her. So they don't really have a code, right? Like a legal. I mean, they do, but it can be altered depending on who makes the who makes the request.
yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, it just seems like the moral of the story is just be cool with each other. Just leave religion out of it. If you want to get upset about something, get upset about the actual matter. But why are you bringing, your faith into it and start, throwing insults back and forth? I think it applies to us too in America. I think there is that component of the Christian right, and then there's also certain segments of the population who respond to them in an overzealous manner, where they're like hating on all white people because they see some people on the right, not even all, but just some extreme people. Like you heard about that one thing that's going on with the border right now. All these militias are going to the Mexican border, and they're trying to protect the border from illegal immigration. Like, get a life, dude. Go get a job. Like what kind of maniacal behavior is this? Like,
It's like they have an excuse to go kill people. Like they've been waiting for this excuse to go kill people, and now they have it, right? You know what I mean? Like, so stupid. Like this is like their life calling. They've been, hoarding and like, doing all these, exercises in the middle of the Navajo desert to do all these stupid things, right? And now they get their opportunity to like flex their skills, right? Like, go home, dude. Like, leave people alone. Mind your business. Stop taking welfare. Go get a job. And be productive. You know what I mean? Like, people just, you're absolutely right, man. People just waste time. They want to look for a way to get excitable.
They want to give a meaning to their life. They feel like they need to be part of the conversation somehow. They feel like without being part of some cause, their life doesn't have much meaning to it, and their existence isn't it doesn't have any validation. I mean, I think, again, just going back to it, fix your life, find love, find people who care about you, and how about, live for them and make the world a better place.
Yeah, go to half our deen and find your partner, and find that love.
And invest wisely.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of, you said Jordan Peterson, right? And you mentioned the clean your room thing, and I love that because there's so many memes about like clean your room.
Whenever my room gets messy, I always just picture Jordan Peterson opening up the door like Kramer, clean up your damn room.
Yeah, those are some great.
For those of you guys who don't know who Jordan Peterson is, check out his lectures. I think there's some valuable lessons. Of course, you're not going to find every single thing in agreement with him, and some people don't like the fact that he converses with, Islamophobes like Sam Harris and them. But you'll find that if you do watch those lectures, that him and Sam Harris and some of those Islamophobes, they disagree on a lot of things, because Jordan Peterson, he believes in God, and Sam Harris and them, they don't. And
what is Jordan Peterson's platform?
So his platform is, he comes from a psychology background. He was a clinical psychologist, and He was also a professor at University of Toronto. He got a lot
He
of
still is.
yeah, and he got a lot of notoriety for going against these new laws that were being enacted in Canada that said you can't upset certain genders or what
Like
was it?
gender specific
Yeah,
laws, and then like the pronouns, gender pronouns and things like that. Like he was arguing that these things are just nonsense, and that he actually provides um some content or some actual talking points in opposition to these points. And it's
yeah.
very rare because most people that do have or combat these ideas are generally, they come off very bigoted. But
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't. Like he actually has points that are formulated around actual thoughts and reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he became really famous for that and engaged in debates. And the University of Toronto generally likes to have a lot of open dialogue and debate. Well, this weekend they actually had Steve Bannon in Toronto at the University of Toronto, but it eventually ended up getting like stopped early. But
What's most interesting with Jordan Peterson is that he's kind of like a modern day Mufasser of the Bible. Like he's not like fully on board with all the inconsistencies of the Bible and stuff, but what he does is he tries to what he says is that there's lessons to be extracted from these material from this
yeah, I
material.
mean,
So what?
he looks at the Bible and Christianity,
Yeah.
not as something entirely divine, but more of a concept that you can extract, some of the greatest ideas from, and you can apply them to your own life and be a better person. Essentially, that is his main, premise. That Jesus, it may not even be a physical person, it may not be this or that, but the idea is, what do we learn from these texts, and how and then he goes on to say that actually this is what makes people moral and good and things like that. He uses that as his premise.
So I mean, what I enjoyed about it, about his material and his work, is that there's theological grounding. I like to. It's not that I discount people who don't believe in God. I like it when um, a philosopher or a thinker or a lecturer is coming from a grounding of in a belief in a creator, because that has a lot of implications. There's a lot of things like destiny and things like that that come along with belief in a creator. There's so many ramifications. We can talk to no end about that, but when that kind of there's an alignment that happens with our own belief. Now, I'd love to tell everyone, hey, go open up a book or Gheerah and read that, and you'll find all the lessons you ever need in life. That's correct, without a doubt. But the conversation of the day right now is people like Jordan Peterson and what have you. And among the idiocy out there, I just see a lot more things that make sense with him as opposed to the others. Like the idiots out there, Morton, Bill Maher, and Sam Harris and Godsod and Majid Nawaz and all these, and then there's the idiots on the left too. There's so many people who are just on their loudspeaker just parroting things that they're supposed to say. They don't even understand like the roots of those ideas. They're just feel good ideas, things that feel like they make sense to them. They don't have the intellectual grounding behind it. And I feel like Jordan Peterson's done a lot of thinking. And when you see a lot of his discussions, he really knows how to navigate these tough.
I think he's very good in articulating certain points, and he's very good at I don't want to use this word, but it's I don't want to say evading,
Yeah,
but he's able to touch on to a topic, a sensitive topic that maybe or an atheist would have an issue with a theist with, but not entirely confirm or deny something. So it's kind of a debate tactic, right? And he's very good at that, and he's able to
not
stand
just
his
that.
ground.
He's very articulate too, and he
Yeah,
uses the best words to express his thoughts.
yes, he does. I mean, he's very articulate. He's and he has thoroughly thought about his points before he makes them.
Yeah,
This is not. You can tell this is a man when he speaks. It is calculated. It's not something that's just like a random response.
yeah,
He's actually put thought into this, not just an emotional response. So in that regards, I do appreciate his intellect,
cool.
his ability to formulate these thoughts and express them in a verbal manner, because it's a lot easier to write these things down than to actually express them
Yeah,
in front of a large audience, especially in a one-on-one dialogue. right? It is difficult to do those things. So I can definitely appreciate that, that aspect of him. But yeah,
And
check
the
him out.
criticism is that a lot of people say these aren't new ideas and stuff, but of course there's nothing that really there is out there that's an entirely new idea. There's just different formations of old ideas that are put together to try to fit it into the modern context. There's no one really all the ideas that could be possibly thought of have pretty much been thought of. When you come all the way down to postmodernism, which is probably one of the more recent philosophies, where it says the idea is that there is no universal truth to the world. Everyone has their own truth that they're seeing from their own experience. That's your own truth. That is pretty much the end of the discussion. Like you've traveled in all these different ways in philosophy and trying to figure out what the world is, what your existence is, and how what are your places in the universe, that you finally come to this point where you're saying, you know what, there is no truth in the world. The only truth that matters is your own experience. Nothing else matters. So that is exactly what is at heart.
To be honest though, that has already been done before too. If you look back at the Mughal Empire, you see Dina Lahi, right? It's basically like everybody's right. You just do what makes you happy, and you're all different ways
True.
to God, and you're just everyone's good.
Absolutely,
what I mean?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
This is probably more on a macro level, but on a micro level in terms of religion, it's already been done. Hey, everybody has their own truth and their own path to God. So so these ideas have already been in existence, right? It's just a matter. I think what it is people who are more articulate, more relevant, more approachable are probably spreading these ideas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Naureen looks absolutely bored.
Yeah, Naureen's like,
Yeah.
I got her a book. I got her the Jordan Peterson book, The 12 Rules of Life.
Do you actually talk to her about these things, or?
I try, man, but she's just like,
I watch Dina Tokio videos.
She gives me these glazed eyes, like, wow. What does this mean?
Oh wow.
But I
thought you were the smart one, Naureen.
Kidding.
I thought you were like the intellect.
She's smart, man. She just doesn't. She feels like she feels like this has to do with people that really don't have any. They don't. She can't identify with these type of people, I guess. Is that accurate?
I hated philosophy and history.
It's not philosophy. He's just talking about how to look at life.
I do like psychology.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Psychology is a pseudoscience.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to get a response. No, but anyways, no. But the reality is that some of these topics are. I agree. They can be a bit kind of. Sometimes they're redundant, and they're kind of like they're just too deep for the average person to think about.
But hold on. I don't know much about postmodernism, but whatever you were talking about, like maybe I'm deviant because I have been kind of thinking along those lines. Like, I know people who are Muslim.
Yeah.
And they're liberal. They're kind of liberal Muslims, but they have a strong spiritual belief in Allah, and they see Allah, they see His signs, but they don't pray.
Yeah.
They might not fast, but they have like the. And I'm like, you know what? Like Allah's going to judge them. Am I wrong?
Well,
yeah, but wait. That's one aspect. We're talking about but would you say like a Hindu is okay? Like he's also going to be. He has his own truth. And like a Satanist or do you say that these people also have their own truth?
It's one thing to say like, a Muslim is, sinning and still found peace in their religion. That's not, they're still grounded in the universal truth that all Muslims are bound by, which is the Shahada, right?
Right.
We're all bound by that one universal truth, the truth that sprouts all the other truths in our religion, all the other tenets of our faith, all the framework that our faith is built on. But when you're coming from a different faith altogether, where like for example Hinduism, they come from multiple deities.
Yeah.
That's completely contradictory to our faith.
But what if they don't know?
Yeah, that's not in our. For example, like Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. I remember the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had these questions asked of him from other people who had their parents they were asking about their parents, whether their parents were going to hellfire or not, and
They do,
he,
right?
and he said my parents are going to hellfire.
No, but the
No, not his parents.
His dad. He
wait,
said
wait,
his
No.
dad.
whenever the prophet.
No,
I mean,
I thought
he-
his
he-
family did believe in Allah.
No, not his
well,
father.
okay. So this is a bit of a theological thing.
Danish. You should be
Some
careful.
some people on the other side, the Brevis, they'll believe that his father and mother were Muslims or believers or from they were like Hanafiya, okay. But the majority opinion that we've seen, and Sheikh Amir can talk about it, but is that his parents died as mushrikeen. Like
Yeah.
they actually weren't, Muslims. But the point is during the lifetime of the Prophet, there were people that asked about dead children and dead relatives, or people who believed, and you'll find that answered sometimes differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would say they will be like with children, they will be with Ibrahim under the shade, right?
Yeah.
In some cases, he'll say Allahu Alam. And some say, well, he'll say, they were as their parents were, right? So this comes in a wisdom that maybe Allah gave him some knowledge about, some foreknowledge about what was going on. But the case is that it really depends on Allah. But at the end of the day, we have a common belief that even you, Naureen, accept the fact that they still have to believe in the 5 pillars. And if they don't, it's bad, it's wrong, but you're just hoping that Allah will show them mercy.
Right.
You're not denying that, right? You
Right.
still believe that is the correct way to do it. They're just wrong, but you're hoping in Allah's mercy. But I don't
Right.
really think that what you believe is actually what Sim is talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about like things like one of the brothers said perennialism in the chat. I think Brother Mustafa did, and perennialism is an episode that the Mamluks did a whole episode on with
Shadi,
Dr.
right?
Shadi Al-Masri. Check it out; it's one of our earlier episodes.
That's like one of your top 10, actually.
Yeah. Dr. Shadi he hit it out of the park because he talked about perennialism in terms of it's an idea that basically talks about all the religions are on a version of the truth. They're all streams that are leading from or coming from the same river, something like that.
Yeah.
And the river is obviously the truth, and all these other streams are the various faiths, and that's completely antithetical to our faith. And why does our faith matter then? If every other faith is equal or has truth in there, then why should anyone follow our faith? I mean, you're completely defeating the purpose.
Have you guys
The whole purpose of your
seen
faith.
that show Nas Daily? He did this thing on this one dude who he was Christian for a couple years, and he was Muslim, then he was Buddhist, and he
Yeah.
was and I was like, how can you be Muslim and then quit after a few years?
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you're not guided.
I mean, what he did was probably more ritualistic things.
Oh,
I mean,
but,
it's not like he.
What I'm saying is, I know of somebody who was a Muslim,
Yeah.
actually was Ahmadi, became Salafi, then became Sufi, then became spiritual, and then became a Hindu. Now he's a Hindu,
Wow.
right? So
That sounds like a mentally ill person, though.
no. He's not mentally at all.
Really?
No. I mean, the guy was actually. He would use his arguments. I mean, he knew his arguments very well. He wasn't like emotionally unstable. This is something that he rationally came to a conclusion about in his mind. And what I'm saying is there are people who are normal, who are fine, who in their minds they're looking for the truth, and Allah just pushes them that way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just.
But surely no one leaves Islam knowing it comprehensively, do they? I'm just trolling you.
There's a difference between having knowledge and having iman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Mort said, just Allah's the one who places iman in your heart, and He can take it away.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you always want to, make dua for after your prayers. That Allah makes you die on the faith. That you don't ever leave it, no matter how.
Yeah.
You
We would say like, "Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana," like make our hearts steadfast in that,
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, because you don't know, right? And like I said, there's also a hadith about the end of times where you'll wake up a Muslim and die a kafir, or wake up a kafir and die a Muslim.
Or go to sleep. Go to sleep a Muslim. Or go to sleep a kafir.
Yeah, or wake up. I mean, the whole idea that you
Yeah.
can change,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And it's just in a heartbeat. You don't know.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we make a dua about the heart, because
Yep.
your heart as a human being doesn't change much from when you're born, right? 1 minute you're crying, 1 minute you're happy, 1 minute you're sad, 1 minute you're angry, right? These emotions, though, your emotional state never becomes constant, right?
Yeah.
So you always have to, you can't control that.
Yeah.
Humans respond to stimuli. So that's why we make that dua.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking last week about how even us as individuals, spiritually, how we've evolved in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
We're more rigid, and then we became.
I think we became really soft somewhere along the line, and then we're like, wait a second, this doesn't feel
This
right.
is too
And
soft. Yeah.
yeah,
This is
this
soft,
is
yeah. I mean, guys, just so you know, some of you guys who don't know, me and Sim know each other for 20 plus 25 years. I don't know, a long time.
yeah, most of our lives.
And
Since
Sim and Naureen been married for what, 12 years?
17.
since 17.
Oh,
We're old.
Yeah.
I was a child bride.
So
Child bride.
So I've known both. I mean, well,
She was a gift to my tribe.
yeah. So Sim has known me, like, I mean, I've known them for the whole time they're married, but I think for the first 12 years, I never spoke to Naureen. I
Yeah.
would absolutely not. I mean, we made it a point.
Yeah.
Like, they live in a small townhouse, and before I would come in, I would give Dan a 10-minute, like, a notice. Hey, I'm coming. Put up the blockade. Remember that
My
little China,
parda. I had my
Yeah, yeah.
parda. My
that little
curtain.
China door thing that was there. I'm like, put it up. I'm coming in. And I remember I would be deathly afraid of coming upstairs. I'm like, oh my God, Naureen's gonna be there. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. I'd have my shoes downstairs already on. Cause
Well, you know what?
He wouldn't even let me call down the stairs. I couldn't say, Sim, come. I need you. I had to like call him on the phone or text him. He's like,
But
I don't
you
want
know
them
what,
to hear
though?
your
But
voice.
you know, I'm not gonna poop on that, man. That
I'm
was
not. Actually, what it is that I think this is the cool thing about it, though. I think Sim, we had that relationship where he knows that I respect him that much. Like, even now, I won't just call Naureen or talk, even though like we talk this way right now.
Yeah.
I won't just randomly do that, just because it's a certain respect that I
Right.
have for Sim,
Right.
right? And the idea is that for me, in my mind, I never want to give any of my friends or loved ones a reason to have shubha or doubts in me.
right.
I don't want to put myself in a position where there could be a doubt,
yeah.
because my friendship or my relationship is more important than having to say, "Oh, that was so funny, Naureen. Check it out." Like, here, look at that. Why would I mean? It's not worth that.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
If I have to, I could just put them both in a group and then send it. So that way, it's
Yes.
known, right? Why put yourself in a position like that? It's not
Right.
about being. It's not like he doesn't trust her or I don't trust myself. It's not that. It's just avoiding that doubtful situation.
Right.
And and this is something that is kind of glossed over in Western society. They kind of, when we talk like this, we kind of looked at it as weird or backwards, but it's always gnawing on the back of every dude who lives in the America or UK or the West in general, right? When their wife is talking to all these other guys, like, hey, does she ever have thoughts to be with that one other, with Ted from work or whoever she's talking to? Like, you always hear this disingenuous thing like, oh yeah, I don't have any worries. Like, yeah, right, okay, buddy.
You know what's crazy is, like, dude, I don't get this. Like, I'll be at work and they'll be like, "Oh, here's a picture of my wife. Where's your wife?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't show pictures of my wife, right?" And just like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then, like, bro, like, we were at this like not holiday party thing, right? And you know how some of them get tipsy and they're like, really free and like,
Right.
they're out of their mode.
I usually
had
leave
one.
before that.
Yeah, I had one boss that like just would get like pissed drunk. Like, I mean, he would have to be carried back to his hotel room. And it happened every year, and nobody would mention it after that night because it was like he was so embarrassed about it, but he would do it all the time. He was a good guy. He worked hard. I mean, very good
Yeah.
boss, but that was him letting his hair down. Anyways, in the middle of the night, I mean, while he's pitch drunk, he's introducing his wife to me. He's like, "Oh, go ahead. Go have a dance with her. Dance with her." And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, they have like, the word that came to my mind, the youth. The hadith about being
The
like,
youth.
Yeah, I mean, like, how just they have no shame.
No,
and
Gheerah.
yeah, exactly. Like, no Gheerah for the fact that, like, and then I'm like, no, I'm good, right? And then she walks away and goes, yeah, she's a looker, right? And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Wow.
I felt bad for him. Like, dude, where is your pride? Like, your honor?
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I would die if I even thought about doing that, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But it's a cultural thing. It's a religious thing, I guess,
Well, I've talked to Latinos at my workplace. They feel like the same way. We don't, and maybe it's a brown thing. Is it?
Brown
Maybe.
pride.
Well, even African Americans are like that too. A lot of like,
The Gheerah?
yeah, that they have like this protectiveness
No.
over their woman.
No.
Well, some aren't.
I don't know. I don't want to put it into a racial category, but there are some men from all races that will be like, "Yo, my girl, my wife is a dime," and they make them dress up like that in public, and it's like they get happy that other men are looking at them because they feel like, "Oh, I got this trophy next to me," right?
Yeah.
And for me, the men that do that kind of stuff are insecure about themselves. So they feel like they're getting a boost up because they're showing off this trophy wife or girlfriend. And they're like, they want other men to be jealous of them because they're not secure. But I've seen it happen in all all races, Mexican, Black, Arab, whatever it is. I've seen it. I mean, they're among some Arabs. Like it's, I don't want to name what region because people might get offended. Then I have all, people always say that, but there's a certain region of the Arab world where they have dance parties. They go out and they smoke shisha and the family together, and they're like shaking all together and stuff. And it's just, for me, from our background, like that is just so unbelievably awkward. Like, are you out of your mind? Like at my weddings, we have stuff like we have like separate halls, not just in the same hall, but even down the block. Like, the women have their own area. Yeah. And then, men have their own area here. I mean, you just don't mix it together. Like, we don't even want to see you guys.
But yeah, I mean, it's different even in the brown community, right? In our Indian Pakistani community, you see all these various interpretations of how people want to live their lives. Like, I have friends who aren't as practicing. They're not like super, religious or whatever, and they have mixed weddings and they'll have loud music or whatever, and that's their thing, right? But at least from our family and the way our interactions are, people are much more conservative.
I think we went to.
Sorry, Naureen.
Oh, go ahead.
1 second. No, we got an old friend of ours tuning in right now. None other than Asim Saeed.
Oh, wow.
He actually comments and he goes, people tend to get carried away with the concept of Gheerah. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I feel like you can say that until somebody, either your wife or your husband, cheats on you. I mean, people can say that. I mean, you're getting
so extreme. Like it's
like you either you don't have Gheerah. If you don't have Gheerah, then
what's the word about a man who doesn't Gheerah is called a what? A cuckold?
Cuckold.
Yeah.
In Arabic, with the youth.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, that's.
So I mean, yeah. If you don't care, then let your wife talk to whatever man she wants,
wait.
or let your man talk to whatever woman she wants.
I don't think he's talking about that though. He's talking about maybe men that are overjealous, like that are too much, where they like, for example, let me see if I have this right. Awesome. Let me see if this is right. Like, for example, let's say if a woman is walking down and she's minding her business and a man just looks at her and she's not even noticing it. And the man gets pissed off and is like, oh, why are these men looking at you? You're doing it on purpose. You're walking that way. Like some men get extremely jealous like that. And that's not, for me, that's not normal either.
No.
True, that's not. Well, look, there's an extreme. You can't use the extreme of a certain idea to demonstrate it, to try to take down that point. Of course, there's like extremes with every aspect or every idea. But
I think that's what he's talking about, right? Like, for example, some people lock their wives in the house. You know what I mean? Like, they can never leave. You know what I mean? Like,
no one's talking about that.
Like that. Yeah, that's too much. If you're doing that, dude, you need to go see a psychiatrist because you're insecure about yourself. You don't need to chain up women. Not everybody's trying to come take your girl. Your girl is not the finest girl in the world. Relax, okay? Not everybody's coming after your woman, dude. Just relax, dude. Calm down.
Yeah, true.
I think there's also like a shift. When you're newly married, you're in your 20s. At that time, everyone's scouting, so you kind of have that. Let me hide my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of at this. We're like in our mid 30s now, so we're just kind of like, whatever. I'm too old now, so who cares?
No, but you know what it is? It's kind of like this. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna share this, and this might be a little bit personal. I apologize for you guys, but there's sometimes I know Sim jokes about like this whole second wife thing, right? And I feel like no, in front of you, Naureen.
Yeah.
Right? And I know by the way that you joke back with him that you don't even take it serious. Like, you're like, all right, well, she's a doctor, no problem. You know what I mean? Like, if you get paid. You know what I mean? The fact that you're so lucid about it, that it means that he can talk about it, but you know him well enough to know that he's not.
She knows I ain't going nowhere.
I'm secure.
Yeah.
I'm secure
You know what
in
I mean?
my
Like, you're
place
not
in my
yeah.
marriage.
That's what I mean. Like, you're both secure in your place. Like, you know, because you've been, I mean, you know each other long enough, right? It would be the same way with me too, right? I mean, I just know, I mean, when you know somebody, you know them, right? You're not insecure about that person. Like, you're like, oh, yeah.
But I do tell him, I said, there's a difference between joking and threatening. When guys like threaten their wives, that's not cool, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that either.
There's a line.
Yeah, and there's another thing too. Like, here's another thing too, though, for women. If that's an advice to men, I'm gonna give one to women. Don't ever compare your husband to somebody else's husband. Don't ever do that. That's a big no-no. Like, don't say, oh, look at the job they have, or look at the money, look at the house they have. Never do that, because that is like, a man sees that as like you want that other man. If you say that,
Yeah.
right, and it may not even be that intention. It may not even be like that's what's happening. You may be totally disgusted by that guy, the way he looks, but a man's gonna be like, oh, you know, maybe she wants that guy. You know.
Tell Asim that we're doing a podcast right now.
He's
calling me.
You?
He's trying to
Why is he calling you?
No, I think he wants to call in. Yeah, we don't have a call in.
Yeah.
Asim. This is a live stream, so you just gotta type to us, brother. You can call me later on, though. I mean, if you want after the podcast, holler at me. Long time no talk, but yeah. So we'll continue. I mean, but
All
yeah,
right.
I mean, that's just my thoughts on this whole thing.
I
You know
love,
what I mean?
I love how he just thought that it was a call-in show, like talk radio, News Radio 780. You're here with Sim and Mort and Naureen.
Well, some people are new to the podcast.
You should do that, though. That's pretty cool.
No, I've been telling you, we're working on it. But there's a lot of, you see how complex it is to get this working right?
Right.
There's one more level of complexity behind.
Hey, we're
because
only
it's
like 3 weeks old, so
Yeah.
we're getting the hang
Yeah,
of it.
no, but what I mean is that there is a level of complexity in terms of like, we're going to have to screen calls. We're going to have to like have call waiting. How do we know who to take? I mean, imagine if you just open the phone line, like how many people just call and say dumb things, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're live here, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know I would, if I wasn't part of the podcast, I'd probably call Sim and say something stupid like, you know, without the 5-second delay, I'd do it, you know, I mean, whatever. But so there's a lot of things that but we're planning on, I think, right, Sim?
Yeah. This is just a lot. We're just trying to get this right. You guys saw the hiccups in the beginning of this episode alone, so we're just trying to make sure that we get this craft right before we move on to something else. Because that's how we approach the podcast as well. We want to make sure that we're damn good at the podcast before we moved on to YouTube and other things. I'd love it for you guys to have a person who's as well spoken as Mehdi Hassan on here talking to you guys, but you guys just don't. You're talking to the B team, and the B team doesn't have producers. They don't have all the fancy or all the financial backing that all these other people do. They just don't. And when
Dude, I'm literally sitting in my closet.
That's why it's so important for you guys to like and subscribe. Okay,
And please donate.
Please don't.
So I can get off Sim's back for spending all of our kids' future
college
tuition and wedding money. And like,
Astaghfirullah, sister. You should support your husband. A'udhu billah.
I do. That's a problem.
She does.
He's been taking my money too.
Be patient, sister. Be
Okay.
patient.
Okay.
Ittaqillah. Be
Yeah,
patient.
the patience is running out real fast.
Yeah, guys. Well, just start off by subscribing, okay? We'll talk about the money later, okay? If you do want to donate, go to www.themadmamluks.com/donate and chip in.
You know what we should do?
We don't make money off this, by the way. This is just to pay the bills and the expenses.
No, but
We have regular day jobs.
You know how at the masjid they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, you can buy one brick, or you could buy musalla, or you could donate the mithrab, right? You could the mimbar, you can do that, right? We should do that here. We should be like, hey, you know what? Do you want to donate for the Zoom subscription? Do you want to donate for, like, you know that? I mean,
Yeah.
just do it. I mean, like,
You
just,
can do
hey,
that on patios.
There's
Does
all
that?
kinds of.
And we can send you guys T-shirts like what Mort's wearing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Well,
Yeah.
let's wrap this baby up. We have taken up a lot of
wrap
our
the baby up, huh? Oh wow. is there another one in the oven or what?
Oh heck no!
No.
That ship has sailed.
I'm done.
You never say never. You know, you never know.
Oh God! Oops, babies.
One more boy wouldn't hurt.
Knowing our luck, it'll be another girl.
MashaAllah.
Mashallah.
Some people would have taken it as a negative thing, Naureen.
All right,
Love
let's
my girls. Love my girls.
shout out to our sponsors, halfardeen.com. Make sure you send your loved ones that way who are interested in marriage. Wahidinvest.com. Tell your parents or yourself If you're trying to look for halal ways of investing money, go to wahidinvest.com, endorsed by top scholars such as Yasser Khadi. mywasiya.com. Get your halal will or Sharia compliant will made in as little as 15 minutes. Tell your parents, get your will done by going to mywasiya.com. All right. That being said, we had a good time. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, send them to info@themadmamluks.com. Until then, we'll see y'all later. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.